Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every dreamer's life when the heart, pure and full of hope, lands in the wrong hands. And when it does, it doesn't just break. It shatters trust, dims dreams, and makes you question your worth. But I want you to remember, your softness is not your weakness. You were never too much. You just gave to someone who was too little. Don't stop loving. Don't stop dreaming. Just learn to protect the parts of you that shine the brightest. Because even broken wings can fly again. Your softness is not your weakness. In a world that often rewards hardness, speed, and sharp edges, being soft is sometimes mistaken for being fragile. But softness isn't fragility, it is resilience dressed in grace. It's the ability to feel deeply, to empathize when others turn away, to remain open-hearted even after pain has tried to close you off. The softness you carry is the echo of strength that doesn't shout. It listens, it stays. It carries the weight of others quietly while trying not to lose itself. That kind of strength is far rarer than toughness that barks orders or builds walls. Anyone can wear armor. Few can walk through life without it and still keep their soul intact. Softness is often misunderstood because it doesn't look like what society has taught us strength should be. We've been raised on narratives that celebrate coldness, dominance, emotional detachment. Be strong. They say, but what they really mean is don't cry, don't feel, don't let the world see you break. But there is immense strength in the one who cries and still chooses to get up the next day. There's strength in the one who keeps their heart tender after betrayal, in the one who continues to love when they've been given every reason not to. That softness is not the absence of strength. It is the evidence of it. Your softness allows you to connect to yourself, to others, to the deeper truths that often get buried under noise and ego. You walk into a room and feel the energy shift. You notice when someone is hurting even if they don't speak. You remember the things people say in passing, the moments they thought were invisible. That's because you're present. Your heart doesn't just beat, it listens. And though that may exhaust you at times, it also gives your life a richness that many never touch. You see the world in layers, in color, in complexity. Your softness allows you to hold space for contradiction, pain and beauty, love and loss, joy and sorrow. You do not demand that life be simple. You let it be whole. And yes, your softness has been mistaken, manipulated, even mocked. People who do not understand it have tried to use it. They've taken your kindness for naivete, your forgiveness for weakness, your patience for passivity. They've tried to teach you that caring too much is a flaw. But every time the world tried to turn your softness into a liability, you had a choice. And you chose not to harden, you chose to feel anyway. That choice, that refusal to be made bitter, is what sets you apart. It means you've learned to protect your light without extinguishing it. You've learned to love with boundaries. You've learned to give without draining. You've learned that being soft doesn't mean being a doormat. It means knowing your value and still choosing to live with your heart open. You weren't born to be sharp at the edges. You were born to wrap your arms around broken things, to understand silence, to speak gently when the world is loud. You were born to soothe, not scold, to grow, not conquer, to offer presence, not power. Your softness is the part of you that stops to notice the sky changing color, that cries at the end of a movie, that remembers your friend's anxiety before a big day. It's the part of you that feels deeply even when it hurts. It's the part that stays up late replaying conversations, wondering if you could have said something better, kinder, more true. This may not always be easy, but it is beautiful. You don't have to apologize for your softness. You don't have to toughen up just to survive. Your softness isn't the thing that's ever broken you. It's the thing that helped you survive the breaking. When things fell apart, it was your gentle nature that kept you grounded in hope. It was your sensitivity that allowed you to process the pain instead of running from it. It was your empathy that helped you understand others, even when they couldn't understand you. And though this path may sometimes feel lonely, know that softness like yours is a gift this world desperately needs. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to be harsh to be respected. You don't have to become someone else just to be safe. There is power in the quiet ones who move with integrity, who choose honesty over performance, compassion over control. There is courage in being the one who feels deeply in a world that tells you not to. That courage, your courage, is revolutionary. People may not always know what to do with your softness. It may confuse them, intimidate them, even frustrate them. Because in a world obsessed with performance, control, and ego, your softness holds up a mirror. It reflects back what is missing in so many others. It reminds people of their own suppressed tenderness, their own longings to be held, seen, understood. That mirror can be uncomfortable, but it is also healing. Simply by being yourself, you give others permission to return to themselves. That is a gift no one can fake, force, or fabricate. You weren't made to win every argument, to dominate every space, to prove your worth by outperforming others. You were made to connect, to restore, to carry beauty in the way you speak, act, and love. You are the one who writes poems in your head during chaos. You are the one who notices the quiet child in the corner, the exhausted smile on a stranger's face, the tremble in someone's voice when they say they're fine. You are attuned, aware, alive. Your softness isn't an accident. It's your essence. There may be days when you wish you were tougher, colder, less affected. Days when the world feels too heavy and your heart too open. But that feeling, that ache, is proof that you are still alive in a world that tries to numb you. Your softness is not the enemy of strength. It is the heart of it. Because what could be braver than choosing to feel in a world that rewards detachment? What could be bolder than staying gentle when you've been hurt? There are many who walk through this life with walls around their hearts. But your walls are low. Your heart is accessible. That comes with risk, yes. But it also comes with depth. With truth, with love that isn't filtered or calculated. Your love is real. It flows freely, honestly, even if sometimes it trembles as it does. And that authenticity, that willingness to be raw, is magnetic. It's what draws people to you. It's what makes others feel safe around you. It's why people open up to you without knowing why, because your softness creates space. It makes room for people to breathe, to be, to feel, and maybe you've been told to change, to be harder, quieter, smaller, but that's because some people fear what they don't understand. They confuse depth with drama, vulnerability with weakness, softness with surrender. But you are not here to meet shallow expectations. You are here to be fully, deeply, unapologetically you, and that includes your softness, because the world doesn't need more cold hearts. It needs more people like you. People who love deeply, cry openly, and show up with their whole hearts even when it's hard. Even broken wings can fly again. It doesn't always feel that way when you're in the thick of the fall, when everything you've trusted has slipped through your hands, when the people you believed in have turned away, when the dreams you held so tightly begin to dissolve into the ache of disappointment. In those moments it feels like you'll never rise again. Like the damage done is permanent, like something inside you has cracked beyond repair, but the truth is, brokenness is not the end of flight. Sometimes it is the beginning of a deeper, more meaningful journey. There is a quiet strength in those who have been shattered, and still find a way to move forward. Not in the same way they once did, maybe not as swiftly, maybe not as effortlessly, but with more awareness, more intention, more courage. Because when you've been broken, you no longer take flight for granted. You cherish every small lift, every moment of momentum, every breath that comes without pain. You become more conscious of your resilience, more in touch with your soul's capacity to endure. People often mistake brokenness for weakness, as if a crack in your spirit means you've lost your worth. But it's the opposite. Those cracks are evidence of all the battles you've survived. They're the places where light has entered when the darkness seemed overwhelming. They are the parts of you that prove your story didn't end when life tried to silence it. And from those cracks, strength begins to bloom, not loud or dramatic, but steady and quiet, like the first stretch of dawn after a long night. Flight doesn't always look the way it once did. When wings are broken, they may heal differently. Maybe you're not soaring above the clouds in the way you used to. Maybe your flight now is more grounded, more inward. But flight is still flight. Healing is still movement. Growth is still progress. The shape of your journey may change, but the essence of your spirit remains intact. In fact, it deepens, because those who have suffered know how to rise slowly. They know the value of each inch gained, of each breath taken with a little less pain than the day before. Even broken wings can fly again, because flight is not just about the body. It's about the will. It's about the decision to rise, even when the world tells you to stay down. It's about refusing to let your past define your future. It's about choosing to believe that your story is not over, even when everything feels unfinished. Broken wings are not the end of your capacity. They are a shift in how you carry your strength. They are proof that you have met hardship and still kept going. The world rarely sees the quiet, personal victories. It applauds the big wins, the dramatic rebounds, the overnight success stories. But the real victories are often invisible. They're in the moments when you get out of bed despite the weight in your chest. They're in the choice to trust again, even when betrayal still stings. They're in the silent tears that fall at midnight, followed by the resolve to keep moving forward in the morning. These are the ways broken wings begin to lift again, not with applause, but with quiet acts of courage. You don't need to be whole to be worthy. You don't need to be untouched to be strong. Your scars are not blemishes, they are reminders that pain came, but it didn't stay. That hardship knocked on your door, but it didn't take your soul. That grief tried to paralyze you, but you found a way to breathe through it. You learned to adapt, you learned to rebuild. You learned to carry your pain with grace and your healing with honesty. That is the power of broken wings. They make you wiser, gentler, more awake to the world and to yourself. There's a unique beauty in those who have known pain intimately. They speak with more compassion. They love without conditions. They understand silence, they respect boundaries. Because they know what it feels like to be torn apart, they hold others with more care. They move more slowly, but with greater purpose. They look beyond the surface, searching for depth, meaning, truth. Broken wings have a way of teaching you to see beyond the obvious. They push you to explore who you really are when everything else has been stripped away. You learn things in your brokenness that wholeness could never teach you. You learn who stays when the pieces fall. You learn how to be your own sanctuary. You learn how to sit with pain without letting it consume you. And most importantly, you learn that your value has never been tied to your perfection. It has always been in your persistence, your kindness, your authenticity. You become less interested in proving yourself and more focused on being yourself. That is one of the greatest gifts broken wings offer. The freedom to stop pretending and start becoming. Flight after pain looks different. It's quieter, more intentional. You no longer fly to escape. You fly to return to yourself. You no longer chase the skies for validation. You move through them, because your soul demands movement. You fly not to be seen, but to see more clearly. And every time you lift yourself again, no matter how heavy the past has been, you remind yourself that you are capable of navigating through sorrow and still finding light. That your journey doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Even broken wings can fly again, because healing is not about erasing the pain. It's about transforming it. You may carry the memory of the fall with you forever, but that memory becomes a compass. It shows you what matters. It reminds you of your strength. It grounds you in empathy and teaches you how to fly without needing the wind at your back. It teaches you how to move forward with less fear and more faith, not because you know exactly where you're going, but because you've learned you can survive the unknown. Some of the most breathtaking flights begin with broken wings, because those who rise from the ashes don't just fly for themselves, they fly for everyone who thought they never would again. They become symbols of hope, not because they avoided pain, but because they moved through it with courage. They inspire others not by being flawless, but by being fiercely human. They teach the world that there is life after loss, love after heartbreak, strength after surrender. They show us that flight is possible, even when the sky once felt too far to reach. There is a kind of freedom that only comes when you've been broken. It strips away illusions, forcing you to confront the truth of who you are. And in that truth you discover a new kind of strength. A grounded, authentic, quiet kind of strength. You realize you don't need to soar high to be powerful. You just need to keep rising in whatever way you can. Whether it's a step, a breath, a whisper of movement, you are still flying. You are still here. You are still becoming. So if you've fallen, if your wings feel torn, if your heart is tired, know this. You are not finished. You are not broken beyond repair. You are becoming. And though your flight may look different now, it is no less beautiful. Because even broken wings, when lifted by courage, by healing, and by the quiet decision to try again, can rise. And in rising, you will not just find your way back to the sky, you will redefine it.